Welcome to the Gaming Outsider Podcast. This week we're welcoming special guest Oscar Pena from the Daughtered Podcast to talk about what it's like to be a gamer parent. In news, Red Dead Redemption 2 is getting a Switch 2 port. Zach's not here to share in his excitement for that announcement, but he does stop by to tell about two games he's been playing, Captain Blood and The Precinct. You'll also hear my impressions of Doom the Dark Ages, Maze Mice, and X Zodiac. This is the Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to the Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community, which can be found at thegamingoutsider.com, facebook.com/groups/thegocast, or you can also find us on our Discord server, where there's a link for it in this very episode. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me are my good friends on Tuesday, May 20th. First off, Jacob Gunderson. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I was just doing my best impression of you last week.
Yes, I didn't know where you were going with that. So yeah, I owe an apology. We did not have an episode last week because my internet has been down for about a week and a half. It was a nightmare. Jake and I started recording last week live right here.
Ooh, that was rough.
We got 4 minutes in, and I just dropped out of the call, and there was nobody else to do the show. Nobody wants to hear a Jacob Gunderson solo episode. Yeah. So
what do you think of the game? I thought it was really good. Me too.
So that is not going to work, but thanks to Jacob, my internet is back up and running. I had a Comcast guy here yesterday, and Jacob was kind enough to come over and let him in the house and do what he needed to. So I'm back, baby. I felt so awful. It's the first time we've missed an episode, I think, in years. Like, it's just kind of crazy. So
like 3 months.
Shut up.
We took like a hiatus at some point.
Well, I'm not saying just me being gone. I'm saying like there's just no episode. But anyway,
we'll make up for it.
Unfortunately, Zach is not able to join us. He is still out of town, unable to be here. But we hope to have him back next week for sure. And we hope to have him on Baldur's Gate 3 this weekend, which brings me to our next host, Kevin Honigford. Kevin, how you doing?
One more vote. That's all I need. I just need one more vote. That's it.
To get rid of Jacob.
You will not fire me.
59's a tipping point. Come on, people. No, I'm doing
Jacob,
great.
And you're looking forward to Sunday because we've been lacking in the Baldur's Gate 3 time.
Yes.
So
yes.
Yeah.
Understandably so with everything going on.
And it's a holiday. It's going to be Memorial Day is actually on Monday, so we're not playing it on.
It is a holiday weekend-ish.
Yes. So, but we're still going to make it happen. It's early enough in the morning, so it's going to be great. So
I have to go to bed early.
Yeah. Yes, you do. You have to go to bed, before 5 o'clock in the morning. So, Melinda Gunderson, Jacob's wife, wants to know who all can vote on removing Jacob from the podcast.
You cannot vote.
I love
you are biased.
I just love how much your wife is in support of this podcast. She likes the podcast.
Wants it to sound good.
Right. She likes the podcast better than she likes you.
Yes. I can agree with that.
Anyway, we got to get on with the show. It is not just the three of us. We have a special guest joining us, a fellow Radcast Network podcaster and host of the Daughtered Podcast. It gives me great pleasure to welcome to the show, Mr. Oscar Pena. Oscar, how are you, sir?
What's up, guys? I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Dude, we are so excited to talk with you. You are new to the Radcast Network as well, correct? I think we joined about the same time.
Yeah. That's right.
And this is the first time we've collaborated with anybody from Radcast, so I'm very excited to have you here. Can you tell everybody about the Daughtered Podcast? What is that all about?
Well, man, I am a daughtered father. I've got 3 beautifully crazy girls, and somewhere in between there, I realized I don't know what the hell I'm doing. But I'm sure there's other people that are in the same boat, or there's other people that have some answers. So I just... Buddy and I started this last year, and just started talking to people and we're trying to shorten that learning curve a little bit. If we can shorten it for myself, a little bit selfish, I'll do that. But also, if we can bring people along, and new dad, like I can't imagine me doing this early on. But if it was a new dad that has a daughter coming and has all these questions and thoughts, maybe there's some place they can go to get some of those answers. So that's what the Daughtered Podcast is there for.
Very cool. I listened to the episode that I listened to was just you, and you gave some really insightful information about the words that you say and how that can affect your daughter's perception of the kind of person that you are. It was a really interesting listen. I'm not a parent myself, but I still found it really insightful. I keep saying that word over and over again, but it was really something to consider. But not being a parent myself, I still have questions. What are the ages of your daughters, first off?
I have a 13-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 4-year-old.
Okay, so this will fall into that wheelhouse then, because although
Okay.
I'm not a parent, I do teach middle school, and I'm teaching 8th grade right now.
Yeah.
So the kids in my class are between the ages of 13 and 14. So what is up with the mood swings, man?
Dude, I was hoping you'd give me that answer.
No,
I am blown away by like one moment. Some of these girls are just like my best friend and hanging out by my desk and want to talk. And then like 15 minutes later, they're
Yeah.
looking at me with this icy, cold stare of death. And I'm like, what happened? I don't understand.
Welcome to the club, brother. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm there. You know, I get those looks, I get those feelings, and one thing I've gotten really good at is body language. And man, I don't know if you guys have ever watched Modern Family.
I love Modern
When
Family.
when that guy Phil, like, he walks in the room one time and he realizes his daughters and his wife all synced. Like,
Yes.
I thought that was a myth.
Yep.
Like, talk
No.
about body language, dude. I walk in, I'm like, oh, I think I'm in trouble. Like,
I don't know. I don't want to be in
I
this
think
room.
it's happening. So yeah, man, I don't know what to tell you there. I'm still trying to maneuver through that myself.
That's hilarious.
I just want to say I think it's really cool that you're doing that, because coming from my personal experience, my first child was a girl, and she's 26 now. But
Wow.
going back to when I was a young parent, I would have given anything to have any kind of community to have that kind of input with. And it didn't exist. So
I mean, that's
I
great
just
to
want to
hear,
say
because
that I think it's really cool what you're doing.
I appreciate that. That's what we're trying to do is build a community. It's community of dudes that can come together. You know, listen, you don't have to only have daughters, right? Like, we can pick
Right.
up information from everybody, and perspectives are key. And that's really what we try to get on the Daughter Podcast. Is everybody's perspective is different. Everybody's got a different path that they've taken, and I think we could all benefit from that. So that's what we're trying to do.
Very good.
That is awesome. I wish I had something like that when 10 years ago when I first started dating Mindy. She dropped an 8 and a 9-year-old in my lap and was like,
man.
if we're going to continue this relationship, you're now their father, whatever. I didn't get the title, but so now it's, 10 years later, they're both 18 and 19 almost.
Wow.
And back then I just remember like I was going from like a bachelor and spending my weekends out and all that kind of stuff. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, I gotta slow down. I gotta not do this. I'm thinking about other people other than myself now. I gotta change gears completely. Yeah,
you're absolutely right. The change of gears is that's the biggest hurdle to go over. I think, at least for dudes, like we don't carry this baby with us 9 months. Like, we become parents that day, right? And up until then, at least for me, it was more like problem solving. Like, oh crap, we've got a problem coming. How do I fix this? And then when I meet her, it changes, of course, but there's still just you're thrown into it. So I can't imagine your situation, man. That would be intense.
It worked out. It was
Good.
great.
Yeah, I mean, I've known Jacob for what is it, about 6 years now? Jacob, I think, was when I first met you, and when I found out he was a parent, I never in a million years guessed he was step parent. I just thought he was their dad. Like, it was just it fit in the role nicely. So
that means he's doing a good job. That's great.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and move on. I want to talk about some of the games we've been catching up on. Oscar, you're our guest. I want to talk to you. What games have you been playing lately?
Well, you're gonna put me on the spot here. I know it. I have not played games like you guys do, and I talked to you about this when we got on. Like, gaming outsider, that's me. I'm the outsider from the gaming world for sure. My daughter, though, she's gone into Fortnite. She wants to teach me how to play, and then she gives me the controller, and then I suck at it, and then she's like, "No, that's not how you do it. You do this." So that's kind of what we've been doing on the, and again, gently say, the gaming side. Other than that, we get into all the Mario Kart games and Mario Brothers. I see the background. I love that. That's the old school Mario Brothers games. That's what we do. So that's where we're at. But in the conversation that we had, Scott, it was, knowing that I want to be in my daughter's space. This is part of that. So I was super excited when you asked me to come on and talk about video games that I just don't normally do. And I think you're giving me more tools, man, to get together with her. So
very cool. And when we get to our topic, we'll have some recommendations of games that we think you'd have a good time playing with your daughter as well.
Yeah,
too.
That's great.
So
and by the way, that game is Fortnite. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
What doesn't make sense? What you mean, like running around as Darth Vader shooting John Wick? Doesn't make sense?
No, I mean that absolutely doesn't. But then also, like, there's no point to the game. Like, there's just like no end to it. Maybe because I just got started, but it doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, I haven't played Fortnite since they first transitioned over to the battle royale format that they popularized. But if you're not familiar, it's like 100 people all dumped onto one island at the same time,
right?
And they all shoot each other until there's only one left standing, and whoever is left standing wins. So that's the whole concept. And then what they do to keep that going is there's like I don't know what it is in Fortnite. Maybe Jake can help me out. No, okay. There's some kind of circle that closes.
It's the storm.
There's like a storm or something that forces everybody to get closer and closer together. So you can't just run away from each other all the time. There's going to be a time where you're going to be forced to engage. And then if you're the last one standing or the last team standing, then you get what's called a victory royale. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you win. So I've never had one.
So that's a little bit different. They eliminated the squatters, I'm sure, because I used to play Call of Duty, and that's you'd have someone just squatting, shooting people, never leave the spot. So I guess that's cool. But
campers.
Yep.
The problem with me is I like realism, and like these weapons come out of nowhere.
Oh yeah.
They pull weapons out. I mean, like massive weapons. I'm like, dude, if it's where I thought it was, that hurt. Like, there's no way you pull that out of there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You got big pockets in video games, that's for sure.
I guess so.
Big back pockets.
All right, well, let's move on to Jacob. What have you been catching up on, man?
Not a lot, actually. I've been going back and playing some of the games that I'm reviewing just to make sure that there's been a lot of updates to them since I've played them last, and I just want to make sure that my review is up to date. But one of the games that I've been playing, I don't know why I picked this. It's called Jalopy. It reminded me somewhat of Pacific Drive, but calmer. And it is, oh my goodness, probably one of the most boring games I've ever played. There's a lot of mechanic work in the game, but you are literally driving from point A to point B and your car breaks down and then you are like trying to fix it. And I thought it was going to be a little bit more on the mechanical side of it, and it's not. But
I can't hear the word jalopy without thinking of those old Hardy Boys books from when I was a kid.
Oh, wow.
Did you read those, Kevin?
I did. I don't recognize that word, but yeah, those books were awesome.
Those books were great, but there's one character, I think his name was Chet, in the Hardy Boys, and he always drove a jalopy. It was always Chet's jalopy.
It's got an old jalopy. Yeah, it's just
remember that.
something they use for an old car, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry that game is boring, but I mean, hope you didn't fail out for it.
I mean, no.
Okay, well, that's good.
Not that it would matter. I don't care.
Everything that I've been playing this week is brand new. I have had very little time to play for me, so we'll get to my games in a minute. But in the meantime, let's go ahead now and jump into the week's news.
It's okay. I wasn't playing any games. I just got Jacobed again.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see any written on the format, so I assumed you hadn't been playing anything.
Oh, I didn't know we had to write stuff there.
That's. I'm gonna mark an edit mark here, so we're gonna redo that whole thing. Our live audience gets to see this awesomeness, but
Okay.
Kevin, have you been playing any games?
Nope.
Nope.
I haven't had time.
Are you serious?
No.
All right, so Kevin, what about you? What have you been catching up on?
Things have slowed down quite a bit, so I finally got to dive headfirst into Clear Obscure Expedition 33, and I am in love, much like the rest of the world.
I'm gonna remind you of something that you texted me the other day, which you may not remember. But
Okay.
playing Expedition 33 when you've had some beers in you
Oh yeah, no, bad
is
idea.
not a good idea. That game is really, really difficult to
Yep.
play when you've had any kind of alcohol in your system because the timing is crucial.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's like I said, there's not much to say about it past what has already been said by everybody. But yeah, I am in love.
Awesome. Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Well, as for me, everything that I've been playing this week is new, so we're going to save that for our new games section here in just a second. But let's go ahead now and jump into the week's news. Here's what happened this week in the world of gaming. We got an update for Starship Troopers Extermination. New games revealed Chronicles of the Wolf, La Chimera, Console Wars, the card game, as an actual physical card game, board game, Nordic Game Awards that is coming this Thursday, actually. It's an award show just put on by Nordic Games. Also a game called Rechat Structure. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that word correctly, but it looks really interesting. Also, Amazon's Fallout series has been renewed for a third season. There is a rumor of a GTA 4 remake that could release later this year. And also, Take-Two responds to questions about game pricing. And lastly, Red Dead Redemption 2 is coming to the Switch 2. Oscar, you are our guest, sir. Which of these stories interests you the most?
For me, it's the Fallout, man. I
Okay.
used to play Grand Theft Auto. That's fun. But I got stuck on Fallout right when it came out.
Okay. Yeah, Fallout. I think I know I watched it. Jacob, did you watch Fallout?
No, I played it.
Okay, Kevin.
I watched very little.
Very little of it. Jacob, you know the story in the TV show is not the same.
I can
story.
believe.
Okay. Okay, so some of us have watched the Fallout show. I loved it. I'm actually planning to watch that first season again because I thought it was really great. They did a good job of doing a fresh story while giving tons of nods to the game that would not make someone that had never played the game feel lost. So I feel like it was a really good mixture of covering newbies and fans of the game at the same time. Season 1 released back in April of 2024, had multiple Emmy nominations. So it shouldn't come as a surprise that anything involving the series is getting greenlit, but it's great that the third season has been renewed, considering the second season is still quite a ways off. So they are very confident in this series. And I mean, I don't even know what more to say about that. I'm very excited that a video game property is getting its proper due. Obviously, Last of Us is big right now. There have been some movies in the past that have been solid, but this one just had such mass appeal for everybody. Like, remember the numbers of Fallout 4 sales like after the series came out? Like everybody was like, I'm on. Let's do Fallout 4. So hopefully this means we get a Fallout 5, or would it be considered 6? No, because New Vegas came out before 4, right? Yes, no, maybe yes.
I believe so.
Oh my goodness. New Vegas came out after 3.
After 3, and then
Before
4 came out.
Yeah.
So
4 came out. And
so
now it's 76. So we would need another numbered one. So it would be 5.
Correct. Yeah. I'm
or 77. Who knows?
77. I love Bethesda games. Obviously, a big fan of Skyrim, but Fallout is such a more interesting universe to me. So I know we're probably 10 years from a Fallout 5 release, but I'm still excited about the prospect after the popularity of the show. What'd you like so much about the show, Oscar, considering you didn't play the games?
Man, I played, I think, the first Fallout game like back in the day.
Oh, the original.
I wasn't like real into it, but I remember my buddies and I playing, swapping games or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just like it just felt like there's something about being able to be put into the game. So like you have a big screen, and I didn't know all the things that were in the game specifically until I started watching Fallout, and then I'm like researching as I'm watching Fallout, and so that was really cool to see that. And this may not fit, but there's something about being put into or a feeling of being put into the game, which I think they did really, really good job at. From like that creature that has all the fingers inside their mouth, like all those things were just, it was just very well put together to where it's like you kind of see the progression of these evil people that created all of the shelters.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It just really, I felt like it put me into the game. And to your point, I wanted to go buy the game right as I started watching. I think like episode 2, I was like, this is really cool. I want to play this. I just didn't have the console and, didn't find the time, but really put me in there. And that's something like, people go to Disneyland for that, right? Like I went to Disneyland, I went to the Star Wars area, and it just puts you into that location.
Yeah.
And your brain goes kind of wild. And that's what it started to feel like as I watched the series. I told you I watched it 3 times already. I was waiting for number 2. They just haven't put it out, so I just kept watching the first one. So,
dude, I've got a recommendation for you if you want to play a Fallout game. We talked before the show. I was telling you about Xbox Game Pass and how you can play that on your TV without even having to have a console. Fallout games are on there. So if you subscribe to that service, you're going to get the Fallout games automatically. You won't get the first 2, but it'll start with 3.
Yeah.
And then you'll have 4 in New Vegas. You'll have 3 full games. You're looking at hundreds and hundreds of hours. So you're going to be set for a while.
That's cool.
I don't know if these guys will agree with me, but I'm going to say everybody jumped on Fallout 4 because it's the newest one. I like Fallout 3 better. I think the stories are more interesting.
Okay.
I think what happens at the end of that game is rad. It's just really, really freaking cool. And
Radcast.
Yes, it's there you go. And there are just some decisions that you make that feel very impactful in the scope of that game that I think you would really, really like. So I don't know how everybody else feels, but 3 is not going to look as good, like graphically, but man, that game is great. And if you do decide to do that, it's a pretty complex game. I know you haven't played games in quite a while. If you need some help,
you better believe it.
Yeah. I will walk you through how to get started with that game. It's pretty great. So
now, what about New Vegas? Because isn't the second season based on New Vegas? Are they taking it in that direction?
It hasn't been 100% confirmed by media, but you saw the show. That final shot made it seem pretty clear that's where it's going. Yeah. So I mean, it's like the worst kept secret if it's the case, right? Like, it's just but it's just a natural place to go is Vegas. And if that's the case and they do some stuff that they did in Fallout, man, there was some crazy stuff that happened in the New Vegas storyline.
Okay.
Jake, did you play through that one?
Like 4 times, yeah.
Okay. There's something, all I'm going to say is there's something involving a tree that is bonkers, and it's fantastic. Jacob knows exactly what I'm talking about, but
okay.
Well, I'm excited. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, keep me posted, man. You've got my cell, so whenever you pull the trigger and go that route, let me walk you through it.
Yeah. I'm kind of stoked to start doing that.
Yeah, and here's the really cool part is you don't have to be super dexterous. Is that the right word? With a controller, because the game has a system called VATS that anytime you get into a battle, you can you turn on the VAT system and it just kind of freezes the game, and then you select which body parts you want to attack on the enemy.
Interesting.
And they get to like make these. You can still move in full motion if you want to, but it definitely it kind of makes it a mini RPG at that point. So I love the VAT system. It's really,
they give you a little bit of a handicap, huh? That's good.
I mean, it's still difficult.
I like
Don't get me wrong. You still got a lot of moving parts there, but it's pretty cool.
I'm pretty excited because I wanted to watch Fallout with my daughter, and then I started watching it on my own. And like the first 2 episodes, I'm like, I can't watch this with my daughter. It's not going to go well. So we didn't do that, but I think the video game would be fun. So
very cool. Kevin, what story do you want to talk about?
I think Take-Two's response to the game pricing situation is quite intriguing.
This is a pretty cool story because there's been lots of talk about the increase in prices of games. Nintendo selling their first party titles for $80 for Switch 2. Microsoft talking about increasing their prices to $80 this holiday. And there's even rumors of GTA 6 being $100, even though there's no evidence of it. Everyone's just kind of like, why wouldn't they? Because people will pay it.
I mean, that, and with the way that everything's kind of setting itself up. It was nice to hear a development team come out and say, hey, you know what? It doesn't have to be that bad. I mean, and a lot of people like everyone wants to assume that yes, all the Switch games are going to be what were they, $80?
That's for
Um,
first party.
yeah, for first party
Hmm.
and all that fun jazz. And but like, why don't people charge what they want? And they're allowed to. I
Hmm.
think that's kind of been lost here. Like we just got to talking about Expedition 33. It's a $50 game. It's
Hmm.
gonna. I'd be very surprised if it's not game of the year. And it's a $50 game while everything else is 70.
Hmm.
You know, so it doesn't like the game pricing situation the way it is right now, and everybody kind of getting all bent out of shape about it. I think they're kind of overreacting. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal.
I haven't heard a whole lot of people like on podcasts and in the media complaining about it. I've just seen a lot of people on Twitter, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or
yeah, the what is it called? The vocal
X.
minority or whatever. Yeah.
right. I mean, it's the prices of things go up. Inflation is a thing. And when's the
Yep.
last time we had a price hike on games? I feel like I've been paying
Right.
$60 for games for 25 years, if not more, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
again, I also understand that I am a 45-year-old guy with a job that, I can afford it. Let me
Right.
rephrase. I'm married to a
I'm
woman
old
with a
and I have money.
I'm married to a very financially sound woman that makes double what I make, so that's why I can afford my games, right?
There you go.
It's called a sugar mama.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a funny story, Oscar, is
Wait,
when
I'm
when my
waiting for the
wife
message from Mindy. Hold on. I know it's coming up.
when my wife before we were just dating, and I had bought a ring to ask her to marry me, and it was something like she got offered a job at an accounting firm, and it was like I had already set a date to propose, but it wound up being like the weekend after she got this job, and she's like, "Oh, I see how it is. I got the job, and then you're gonna put a ring on it."
Here's the
Um,
prenup.
yeah, exactly, right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
anyway, to bring it back full circle here with the story that Kevin wanted to talk about, Mafia: The Old Country, amidst all of this, is going to be releasing for $50. Strauss Zelnick, the CEO of Take-Two, commented on this recently, which is why we're talking about it. He explained that variable pricing isn't a new concept, that he wanted to, quote, get Mafia: The Old Country into as many hands as we possibly can, unquote. Zelnick also said, our view is that if you create a huge hit and everybody wants it and everybody buys it, the revenue is going to take care of itself, unquote.
Mhm.
So I think they also mentioned that this game is not open world, which
Yep.
this will be the first Mafia game that isn't open world, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
No.
Very linear, relatively short. When I hear relatively short, I assume 12 to 15 hours, which is
Right.
like the sweet spot for me. In terms of, I don't have time for 100-hour RPGs anymore, and I just recommended one to Oscar, so that's awesome.
It'll take me 20 years. It's fine.
Dude, you're gonna like that game so much. I think you're gonna be having some sleepless nights, just like
No.
wanting to go do more and uncover that, because that game.
Do you see him? That's a man with his priorities in check.
Or a wife that'll give me a look too. So
Well, yeah,
That too.
that's why I got a
She-
man cave.
She can't look at you if she's sleeping.
that's true. But then
Does
I
your-
can't look at her in the morning because I'll be sleeping.
Does your wife have like a Pavlovian response to the sound of the Xbox or PlayStation coming on?
She did. She totally did when we were
Yeah.
right before my first daughter got to us. I think she absolutely did. I would turn on the Xbox. She'd be like, "Are you serious?" I mean, it was just like, I'm amazed she didn't like just automatically throw something at me.
That's one of my favorite TikTok videos, I think, is like a guy sitting down, putting his feet up, and hear that, and then just in the next room you hear, "What the hell are you doing?"
Yeah.
So good. Anyway, one more quote. 2K said, quote, "We think there's a large audience for compelling stories that don't require massive time commitments," unquote. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
I feel like this is just my perception. I can't speak for everybody, but I feel like when we were younger and we had so much time to play these 100-hour games, even when I was early in my marriage, playing things like Fallout 3 for as long as I did, I was getting away with something. I had a very understanding wife that knew this is my thing. I was going to come home and play games, and she put up with it. But now, as I'm getting older, there are more things that I'm doing outside of my relationship with her, and I've got other commitments and things that I'm doing that don't involve gaming, and I really want to still finish experiences. So I love it when I see that a 12 to 15 hour game comes out. And I think that as gamers grow up, they're going to have less time to do it because, like Oscar said earlier, life happens. Things are happening that you're not going to have as much time to play. And I think that generation is growing up. And unfortunately, I think the generation behind us, at least what I'm seeing in my school, kids don't like games anymore, man. I have never once seen a kid talk about the story of a game.
Yep.
It's all about like, what loot did I get, or what ways did I show off, or how did I hang out with my friends, because that's how we hang out. So
I mean, that's a whole nother way to experience a game. You're not playing the game for the hours at that point. You're playing the game to be with friends.
Right. I mean, that's why I used to play like Diablo 3. That was just my hangout with my friend DA. You know, we'd get together, and it was mostly about the conversations, and Diablo 3 was just something to keep us busy while we talked. You know what I mean? So there's nothing wrong with that. I just get nervous because I like to play games for the story and the experience, and I feel like it's just the experience with the younger generation.
Yeah.
And the saving grace that I have is that when I get older and they're not making story-based games anymore, I'll be in a retirement home and I got a hella backlog. I'm gonna have so much to catch up on. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, it's weird if it's not in their device, it doesn't seem like they're into it. Like it's in a device or connected to the internet. And I used to have a lot of fun just playing the storyline of the game, and I used to get mad when there was a bad storyline at the end. You're like, are you serious? I just wasted all my time for that. But I don't think I don't think these kids are getting to that point right now.
No. I introduced my kids to a JRPG in my class. It was Final Fantasy 3 because it was on the Nintendo the SNES Classic, and this one girl was just like super into it. She was reading the dialogue and she was taking, understanding what she had to do to the strategy to fight the boss, and she was like, I was like, oh, there's hope. And that's the last time I saw it, and that was like 8 years ago. So
oh man,
I don't know. I hate to sound like the old fart, like I always do, but that's the way it is. Anyway, Jacob, let's move on. What do you want to talk about?
Oh, I don't know if I want to talk about Red Dead or GTA 4. Let's talk GTA 4. That's one I like.
You can talk about both. They're both Rockstar.
I don't care. We're talking about GTA 4. I would put countless hours into another GTA 4 game.
Yeah?
That was the last big GTA that I got into, and I loved every second playing that one. I was just talking to Mindy the other day about one of the characters in there because he left such a lasting impression on me. And not for a really great reason, but it was just, I would love to relive those moments again.
Okay. I missed this one. I didn't play it very long. So I might like to go back because I hear the stories are really great in this one.
Cousin, let's go bowling. No, Roman, shut up.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. I know Jacob does love bowling, so I would like to give this another shot. So if they did remaster it, I would give it a shot. I say that, and I downloaded Oblivion, and have yet to even like fire it up. So, although
why would you do that to your system?
What download
and not play
question.
it?
I've already deleted it because I had to have room for Doom. So it was like I like to tease with console. Like, hey,
Wow.
I haven't played it.
Face again.
Although
oh my goodness.
I just got to give Kevin whatever he likes to take still images of me when I'm on the podcast and use like for whatever. Anyway, I would like to give this another shot. I played through 5. I was like, I don't know why I felt compelled. I didn't like it. I just felt kind of dirty playing that game. I don't have like a wish fulfillment to be a criminal or do all this stuff, but some of the characters were interesting enough to keep me going. But I have heard such good things about the writing of GTA 4, especially with some of the DLCs, and I'd like to go check that out.
It's one of those story games. And it's one of the stories that I actually got into. So.
Do you remember the reveal for Grand Theft Auto 4 on stage at like, I don't know if it was E3 or whatever, where he rolled up his sleeve and he had the GTA 4 logo tattooed on his arm?
No, I don't remember that at all. That sounds awesome.
You gotta go watch that clip if you can find it online. Well, that piggybacks to the one I wanted to talk about just briefly. Red Dead Redemption 2 coming to Switch 2, not Switch, but Switch 2. I feel like this is big news. It's not 100% confirmed, but quote, sources close to Rockstar claim that this is true despite sketchy details. And the claim is that this could be out by the end of 2025. There's also reports of a next-gen update to the games for Xbox Series X and PS5, as if Zach needed another excuse to play through this game. Oscar, this is our co-host Zach's favorite game of all time.
Okay.
He has played through it at least 6 times.
He could ride a horse while riding a horse. Perfect.
Oh, I see what you're doing. Okay.
Oh,
See, now he's got to make that happen. Now I just want to. Can we just like get a picture of Zach on a horse with a Switch controlling? Okay, I wish fulfillment. So anyway, very happy for Zach because he's gonna have it. Like the thought of he at his last job had a pretty massive commute. We're talking like 2 hours of train or buses and things like that per day. So that's 2 hours of his favorite game of all time. That's just selling it for him. So
Nice.
Yeah.
okay, well that's the week's news. Jacob, you got some updates for us on R2V2, and for those that maybe have never listened to the show, what is R2V2?
R2V2 is our video game. R2V2 is our video game convention that we throw right here in Rockford. Early door tickets are on sale right now on eventbrite.com. You can get them for $10. It gives you access to the con and the concert. Scott, who do we have playing for the concert this year?
We have 3 bands that are officially confirmed. Our first was not a band, it is a solo act. Jer Roke is a piano player. He plays nothing but video game music. He's going to be doing a solo performance. And then after that, we've got a band called the Adventure Guild, and they're a full band with an incredible guitarist, by the way, that plays nothing but music from Stardew Valley. And then our closer, or our headliner, is Arc Impulse. It's a band that the 3 of us saw in Chicago, and they are fantastic. High energy rock band playing nothing but video game tunes. They do a mashup of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out with the Rocky theme with a video behind it that is just so much fun. Highly recommend. It's going to be a fantastic show, so I hope people come check it out.
Thank you. You can find us on eventbrite.com if you look up R2V2.
Awesome. Last thing I want to mention before we get to the new games we've been playing is remind everybody about Patreon. If you like what you were hearing and would like to support the show, you can head over to patreon.com/thegocast, and you can basically offer us a little bit of a tip donation. And if you do so at the $3 tier, you're going to get 2 things. You're going to get ad-free versions of the episodes and also any new bonus content that we create on our Patreon. For instance, I am still doing episodes of The Last of Us with John and Troy from The Hollywood Outsider. We're doing a spoiler episode of the HBO series. There is a new episode available. However, because of my internet issues, I was not available this most recent episode, but I will 100% be there for the finale, which is this coming Sunday.
Shame.
Also, Jacob and I did a spoiler cast for the game Blueprints, which is a lot of fun just because you get to hear, 90 minutes of Jacob mispronouncing the word room. And it's fantastic. So,
I do not say room that bad.
I highly recommend checking that out.
I hate all of you.
Anyway, again, if you'd like to support the show, patreon.com/thegocast. We really do appreciate it. With that, let's go ahead and check out the new games we've been playing. Here's what we got coming out for new games on the horizon that you can purchase in the near future. Starting on May 23rd, we've got Onimusha 2, Xbox One, PS4, Switch, and PC. Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon, Xbox Series S and X, PS5, and PC. Two Strikes, Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. And then on PC, we've got Nine Kings, Haneda Girl, and Garden of Witches. On May 26th, we got a game called Section 13, which is available on Xbox Series S and X, PS5, and PC. Moving on to the 27th, Cattle Country, a game that I know Zach wants to play. Xbox Series S and X, PlayStation, Switch, and PC. Odd Sparks and Automation Adventure, Xbox Series S and X, PlayStation, and PC. EA Sports F125, Xbox Series S and X, PS5, and PC, and also Cosme Forbidden Forest. Lastly, on the 28th, we've got Pipistrello and the Cursed Yo-Yo on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. To a T, one of the most bizarre-looking games I've seen in a while, coming to Xbox, PlayStation, and PS5. And Crystal of Atlan, PS5, PC, iOS, and Android. And lastly, Trash Goblin on PC. Oscar, any of these games stand out to you that you would be interested in checking out?
Man, that's a lot. A lot of these I don't even recognize. I think I'm not like in that. I think the one that hits his knuckle dragger is probably F1 Sports F1. Just because they've gotten really realistic with some of these, and it's really cool to play that. So,
Oh yeah,
very cool. Kevin, how about you?
I'm actually looking forward to the Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon. The first Tainted Grail was very interesting, is the best way I can put it, in a good way. And I'm quite looking forward to sitting down to that for a handful of hours if I can get through Expedition 33.
How far are you in that, by the way?
Not very.
No, okay. All right, and Jacob?
Odd Sparks, an automation adventure. Sounds like my kind of game. Although, I'm afraid they're going to get sued by Nintendo. They can't become super successful. It looks like a lot like Pikmin.
Oh no.
Yeah. Oh no. So yeah. Nobody else play this game. just let me have this one.
What's the other game that looks like Pokemon? Pal World. If Pal World can get away with it for so long.
That's true.
Yeah, but now look at them. Now they're a shell of their former self. But yeah, there's a little mechanic in the game where you've got the little people things behind you. They're little forest creatures with little feathers on their heads.
Oh, no
leaves
way.
On their head, and they follow you around. And then when you want to assign them to something, you pick them up and throw them.
Oh.
So a lot like Pikmin.
Okay.
Well, we're going to talk about another game that I'm worried about being able to stay on the market here in just a second. But for me, to a T, that game just looks so weird. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this concept, but it is a game, a kid that is literally stuck in a T pose.
I saw that. I I didn't know what was going on.
And he has to like learn how to function in society, and that's the game. It reminds me of like Octodad. Remember that game?
Yeah.
Where like it's a dad,
But he's got to learn how to function in society, stuck in the T pose.
Yes.
And there's a dancing giraffe.
I don't know about the dancing giraffe. I don't know what that means.
There's two dancing giraffes.
It shows a giraffe a few times dancing to that.
I don't know, man. I appreciate the weird once in a while, and I keep hearing about this game, so I'm intrigued. Will I actually play it? Probably not, because my plate is so full. But it intrigued me nonetheless.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Thank you.
Sean Coates from the community said to a T is from the same guy behind Katamari Damacy. So
that's interesting.
That makes absolute sense.
If you've not played Katamari Damacy, highly recommend it. First off, I think the re-rolled version is on current consoles.
Yes, it is.
It's delightful. It's so weird, but it's a lot of fun. Okay,
Scott. Speaking of delightful, you've been playing Doom of the Dark Ages.
Oh yes, it's just absolutely delightful.
I was gonna say that's the worst segue I've ever heard.
Thank you. Why are you okay? I get yelled at for pointing out segues, and now my producer is pointing out my segues that I worked really hard on. I thought about that for like the last 10 seconds.
Okay.
Wow. Just tear that one away from me. Scott, Doom of Ages of the Dark. Go.
Doom the Dark Ages. So I actually got a pretty interesting experience with Doom the Dark Ages because I'm playing this on Xbox. However, I have heard so much about what this game looks like on PC. I invited myself over to Aaron Hughes' house to play this game on PC because it's supposed to be ridiculous and awesome, and I wanted to do it. I'll get to the PC thing in just a second, but I want to talk about Doom the Dark Ages in general terms first off. Guys, this game is awesome. Oh my God, this game. Have either of you played it yet?
Nope.
Not yet.
It's on Game Pass. So if you've got a Game Pass subscription, you can play this at no extra cost. I played 2016. I skipped Eternal because everybody said it was so complicated with the controls and everything like that. I just felt kind of scared with it. This one sounded awesome. I like the idea of it being more of a tank. It appealed to me, and that is exactly what this game is. The biggest change that I've got from the get-go is the shield. You've got a shield that you can use to block projectile attacks, which not only block them, but you can also redirect them back to your enemies. So there are red and green projectiles. The red ones you can only block. The green ones actually will go back. So this is going to be a nightmare for Zach, unfortunately, because his red and green are the two that he struggles with his colorblind situation. So I don't know how they're going to mitigate that with the accessibility options, but regardless, it feels awesome to fling those things back to them. You've got you eventually get a melee weapon that is just like this glaive or a metal glove. Is that what a glaive is?
No.
Kevin?
No.
Am I saying that right?
Gauntlet.
Yeah.
Gauntlet.
Maybe.
There we
Yep,
go.
There you go.
Glaive is like the thing on your arm, right?
No.
Yeah,
No, glaive is a weapon. It's like a spear
Yes,
with a
yes.
stick. There we go.
We're getting there.
I'm dumb. I love that neither of you gave me the answer. You're just like, he'll get there. Give him a minute. Give him a minute.
You are the school teacher.
Yeah.
If I give you all the answers, you won't be.
So anyway, you get this gauntlet that allows you to now melee attack. You have melee attack ammo drops. You actually have to pick up ammo to be able to continue to use your melee weapon, which is awesome. And then they showed the number of ammo on your aiming reticle. Like you always have like these 3 dots that show you how many you've got. Here's the really interesting, the 2 interesting things that I didn't expect. Number 1, because they talked about Doom Guy controlling like a tank in this one, I straight up expected him to move very slowly. He doesn't move as quickly as he does in 2016, but it's not tank-like. You still have some speed. You still have a dash button, so you can still do that. That was the first thing that surprised me. The second thing that surprised me was, considering the game is called Doom: The Dark Ages, I was expecting it to be in the Dark Ages. And without spoiling too much, there's a lot of sci-fi / military stuff that's just like straight up in your face in this game that I wasn't expecting. And right off the bat, when you finish the first level, there is something really interesting going on with Doom Guy and his derivation, I guess is the way I'm going to say that. I don't want to spoil it because it's a pretty fun reveal. But clearly, this is not a game that you were playing for its surprising storyline. This is
isn't this like a prequel, basically?
Yes.
That's where I'm confused, because I was told that it's a prequel to the 2016 game, right?
Okay.
But it's not like it's not like his origin story or anything, because clearly Doom Guy's been around for a while. Everybody knows who he is,
Right.
or afraid of him. Which, I know it is talking about they're going to keep making Doom games for as long as they are able to. So maybe we'll get that one day. But did you ever see his eyes in 2016, like through the mask?
Maybe.
I don't remember seeing his eyes. Like, you see his glowing eyes, and I don't remember that being there, because I just always remember it being the mask. And to me, like, glowing eyes would be something that would come after. You know what I mean? Not like a before story. So I'm very confused as to what's going on in the story. But it is pulling me forward to keep going.
I mean, even then he's supposed to be like this legendary warrior.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. Man, I'll tell you when we're not recording, because I don't know what people are going to consider a spoiler in that territory. But
that's a spoiler.
What's that?
That's a spoiler.
That's a spoiler.
Stop spoiling the spoilers.
I'm not spoiling anything. I'm not giving away anything. Stop yelling at me. What else? The weapon progression feels pretty good. You're constantly finding something new to do. You're not being forced to swap out weapons like you were in previous ones all the time. Like, when you run out, there's always ways to replenish. There is loot scattered everywhere. Like, even like if you play the original Doom, they've got the little blue vials that you pick up for health, and the green ones for armor. And you can still do glory kills in order to replenish your health, but it's not. You can't just go up. You have to knock them down quite a bit of ways away, and you're not doing it necessarily every time. But it's all about managing the ads in order to be able to replenish yourself to get the harder enemies. The first level is like close these 4 gates. I'm like, oh, am I playing Oblivion or and then like the final boss of the first level is like a turret sequence. It is just such a video game, but it's got this high level of polish. You know what I mean? It just feels like it's not complex in what you're doing, but there are so many complex things going on. It's really pretty to look at. It is a ton of fun. It is slick. I got through the first level and had like less than a third of the things done, like in terms of secrets and collectibles and things. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I could spend so much time on there. There's 22 chapters. It's a lot of fun. So go ahead.
How is this is gonna be a weird question for you? How does the difficulty feel?
I played on what I assumed was the normal difficulty.
So one usually in the middle.
Right. It wasn't. I think there was like 7, but it was like Hurt Me Plenty, I think is what it was called.
Yeah.
I didn't die a single time. And I can handle a first person shooter, but I'm not fast and frenetic. Like I felt a little overwhelmed in the 2016 one. This one feels easier to me.
They are from the sources that I've seen, they are talking about how easy this one is compared to the others.
And I don't remember this being a thing in the others, but they give you these talismans or something that you can find in hidden areas, and you can hold up to 3 of them. And if you die, it just brings you back to the last checkpoint instead of starting you back at the beginning of the stage.
Ooh.
So they've got that going on too, but I never died. So
Yeah.
Okay.
and again, I'm not playing on super hard, but I'm also not playing it on baby mode either. And but yeah, and I don't have a problem with that. If you want the challenge, then just bump it up.
Easy with the baby mode. Some of us die all the time.
Yeah,
right.
If you want the experience, that's the way to go.
I want the story.
I mean, the story.
I play for the story.
Dude, the story's dumb. I mean, it's like it's not even like really told to you what's going on. It's just like there's a bad guy with horns. That's pretty much all you know. And
Jacob would play a Doom game for the story. Just let it go.
Jacob played Chair Simulator.
That's my point.
For the story.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to tell you, the second half of this story is when I went over to Aaron's. Aaron graciously let me come over and try playing it on this because I'd heard that this game just looks utterly amazing on PC, but the podcast that I listened to was playing it on the new 5000 series graphics card or something.
Cards, yep.
And I think Aaron has the 4000. So is it like 4090 or 5090? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, you're getting
something
close.
like that. Yes.
Yeah,
something
you're
like
close
okay.
enough. Yes.
Okay.
Within the realm of numbers that they use.
Okay. All right. So keep in mind, there has been exactly one time I've ever played a first-person shooter with a mouse and keyboard, and that was when I tried to play Half-Life, the original Half-Life.
Oh.
10 years ago, I think.
Probably longer.
The first time I tried it. Huh?
Probably longer than that.
No. I mean, I was playing like it on Steam with the remastered version or whatever.
Oh, I see.
The Black Mesa version, or I can't remember. It wasn't like originally, but
yep.
and I made it about a third of the way through that game before I was like, I'm just gonna wait until I can play this with the controller. Never did it again.
Wow.
So I sat down on this thing, and guys, it feels so awkward to play a shooter with a mouse and keyboard for someone that's held a controller for the past 40 years of their lives.
Right.
I was surprised at how much I picked it up, but I did set it to easy mode for this because I knew I was going to struggle. And I found myself having to adjust the sensitivity. I wanted the sensitivity to be a lot faster because to turn around, I felt like I had to pick up the mouse like 3 times to turn around in a complete circle. So I had that sensitivity way, way over there. But it feels so awkward to move forward with arrows. And trying to back up and run with the shift button, like that just feels. Oh, I just want to have the shift button on all the time, please. Just do that. But anyway, the real reason I wanted to bring it up was the comparison, and I thought it looked good. There were some minor details that looked better, like when it was mostly in the cutscenes though. Like the cutscenes, I could actually see the shapes of the figures stand out better. Like there's this one character that's got a shroud over his head, and I could actually see the outline of the person underneath the shroud that I didn't notice on Xbox. I don't know if that's because the graphics were better or because I was looking at a computer monitor 12 inches from my face as opposed to, 6 feet from my screen.
So that's what that looks like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Aaron is on a mission to convert me into a PC gamer. He just told me that now is not the right time to get into PC gaming. He said to hold off. So anyway,
Nonsense.
Doom: The Dark Ages, id Software developed, published by Bethesda. It is $69.99 unless you're on Game Pass. Then you can play it for now, no additional cost. Highly recommend it. I plan to continue playing it because it is a blast, and I'm not struggling, so that helps too.
Well, good. Going back to baby mode, Scott, you've also been playing Maze Mice. What is this? You went from Doom to Maze Mice.
Maze Mice is a cute little game that was developed by the same guy that made Luck Be a Landlord, which I reviewed a few months ago. If you remember, it was like a slot machine type roguelike. And the only reason I played this was because 2 reasons. My buddy Mike said, dude, you got to play this game. And then secondly, I was talking to a friend about it, and I haven't been buying games lately because I've been trying to save money. And a friend gifted me this game. So I probably wouldn't have played it otherwise. I was probably been like on a back burner kind of thing. Somebody bought it for me, played it. Shockingly, I really like this game.
You keep games that people gift to you? That's crazy.
Okay, do you want to explain what that means?
I'm not salty at all. That's all right.
Jacob bought me a game on Steam that we were going to play together in tandem, but I already own it. So I was trying to save him some money and I returned it so that he could get his money back because there was no point in buying it if I already had it on another platform and could play it.
I have hurt feelings.
We're going to play through The Witness. Spoiler alert. Anyway, Maze Mice is basically it's if Pac-Man were a rogue and you crossed it with Super Hot. What I mean by that is you are a mouse on a grid map like a maze picking up gems, but the map only moves and the enemies only move when you move.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And much like Vampire Survivors or something like that, you get so many gems, you're given the option of one of 3 different new abilities that you get. And they can be things to attack the cats that are chasing you. They can be traps to set for them. There are all these different things that you can do in order to kind of keep your progress going because your goal is to stay alive as long as possible. You do have HP. If you get hit, it's not like it's a one-hit kill. You can also, one of the things is to increase your HP. There's all these fun different attacks that you could do, and you just kind of go around picking up these gems while getting chased by cats and trying to take them down as much as possible. It is a game that sounds absolutely ridiculous in description, and it 100% is ridiculous, but playing it, you got to try it to really understand what it is. It just, there's something satisfying about it. And then the further you get, you unlock more abilities that are available to you that just get more and more ridiculous. I have an ability now. I pick up a saxophone and it just does all this damage to all the enemies. But if on my next draw, I get another saxophone, it makes that damage increase. So I become unstoppable. It's
garlic.
It's super silly. Yeah, exactly. It's got that Vampire Survivors mentality, but slow motion Pac-Man, and it works. You got to trust me. It works. There is a demo. If you want to try it, you can play it on Steam for free. Play it. Tell me I'm wrong. It's worth looking at. Again, the game is called Maze Mice. It comes from developer and publisher Trampoline Tales. And if you do want to buy it, it's only $10. I'm really digging it.
I'm sold.
Yeah?
That's the game.
I was going to say,
it seems like a game I can handle.
Yeah. It's just a neat concept that's just I feel like hasn't been done, and I think it's really cool.
I feel like there was this game in the 90s on computers that you were a mouse and you were pushing bricks to trap cats.
Oh, I remember that game.
Way long ago. That's what I feel like.
This has the same energy, but it's just a completely different game style. Like I mean, like 'cause whenever you go pick up the gems, you have to go buy a sleeping cat. and then it wakes up the cat, and now the cat is chasing you, so that you keep going, and you just have a line of cats chasing you. It's super silly, but they will always follow in the pattern that you go. So it also becomes a timing thing. Like, can I make this corner without running into the tail?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That becomes an aspect of it, and it's just, and it sounds super simple. Like, oh, I can just take whatever time I need in order to think. But then there's strategy involved in that. Like, can I get in here? Do I risk going in this corner to get that gem, or is this gonna? Because there's not only the cats, there's also these flying enemies that just like home in towards you, that really mess things up for you, and you have to kind of do timing. If you get really hurt, you can just kind of go in a circle and just wait for everything for the cats to go away with the attacks that you're doing. There's a whole bunch of different strategies, and it's super addicting. It's one of those, I just died, just one more run. You know what I mean?
Oh my goodness.
But thankfully these runs don't take 45 minutes. These are like 15 at the most. So what were we gonna say, Jake?
I completely forgot to talk about a game that I've actually been playing and have been playing a lot. I've been playing Haste.
Oh, dude, I just saw a trailer for this, and I thought of Kevin when I saw it.
It feels a lot like Sonic the Hedgehog, but with a little girl, and Risk of Rain power-ups, kind of.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Oh, okay.
It just popped into my head because you were like, oh yeah, one more run, and I was like, yeah, I was up until like 5:30 in the morning playing Haste the other day.
That's so weird. That thing came on Wario 64's stream today. Like, it's on sale, and I was like, that game looks like a Kevin game. So,
well, now I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of things that look like other things, tell me about Star Fox.
Yeah. Also known as X Zodiac, which I'm playing on Steam Deck. Actually, Jacob played this as well. Kevin, I don't know if you saw the trailer for this, but this is straight up Star Fox. And when I say Star Fox, I mean Super Nintendo Star Fox.
Yep.
But with Star Fox 64 control schemes.
Oh, okay.
So you are, and frame rate or the dexterity feels a lot more slick than the original Star Fox. So imagine modern sensibilities, but it still looks very polygonal like the original Star Fox, and you've got X Zodiac. This is developer MNKY. It was published by Pixel Jam, and they're actually the ones that provided me a copy of it as well. It's still in early access. But I mean, dude, even down to the other characters talking to you, a little box comes up, and then the text pops up right next to them, like a profile of them. The bosses have the glowy bits, or even just regular enemies have the glowy bits on them. You have a lock-on thing that lets you like paint the targets, and then it does all of them.
Use bomb blasting.
Yeah, you have bombs. You have rings that you fly through. You have ways to get dual blasters. You have ways to replenish your shields. They just look slightly different than they do from the original games.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that Tau World is getting sued in this game. There's absolutely no issue.
Yeah.
Like, it's just kind of crazy to me.
It's not making money.
I was going to say,
what it is?
It's probably just not near as popular. But no, when I watched this trailer, I seriously, oh, cool. Someone made a Star Fox. Awesome.
Yeah.
Somebody made it Star Fox.
They do a little bit different, because you remember, like in Star Fox 64, there were times that you could get out of the vehicles, and this one does something like that. There's one point where, like, instead of flying your plane or your quote R-wing, you are
the Landmaster.
Yeah. Like you're flying in a jetpack. You know what I mean? There's other things going on. And I also think that the bosses are actually a little bit more interesting. I think Star Fox 64's bosses were cool because there was dialogue going on between you and the other characters. You're not having that here, but I feel like they feel more like video game bosses than the simplistic Nintendo formula for bosses, if that makes sense. There's more moving parts. There's more memorization of patterns and things instead of just shoot for the glowy bits.
Okay.
So I think it's got a lot going for it. It's worth checking out, and it's $12 in early access. If you like Star Fox, this is an absolute must play. And Jake, you played it at my house for a little bit. What did you think?
I thought it was cool. I mean, If I got it as a gift, I would play it.
Oh my goodness. Oh my
Stab,
goodness.
stab. Oh no, I thought the game was fun. I got to the final boss in the first area and was shocked about, because I played Star Fox a lot, and I was shocked about how closely that the enemies move and the people talk to you and all that kind of stuff. I was waiting for one of them to yell, "Do a barrel roll."
Yes, right?
And,
Yes.
and then the boss came out and was completely different. I was like, okay, fine, it's not Star Fox, but
Right.
no, the game is very reminiscent and a lot of fun.
Very cool. All right, we got a couple more reviews for you. I know Zach's not here, but he wanted to let you guys know about a couple games that he's been playing. So we're going to have him take it away right now. Thanks, Zach. As always, we miss you, buddy. Hope to have you back. Very quickly, before we get to our topic, I want to remind everybody one more time about our social media outlets that you can come join in the conversations. First off, facebook.com/groups/the GoCast. We got a couple new members over there. Tim Copland and Avalon Ruane. Welcome to the community. Hope you're enjoying it. Also on Discord, there is a link in the notes for this very episode. Our latest member over there goes by the name of Nixel Lunis. Welcome to the community. And we do have a review over on Apple Podcasts. Somebody by the name of Shane from That Sober Guy podcast left a message, and he said, "Great podcasters for gamers, laid back vibe with awesome discussions about all things gaming. This one's a wild listen, highly recommend." Lastly, our website is thegamingoutsider.com. There you can find all of our episodes, as well as all of our written reviews for games as well. Zach's review of Captain Blood, which you just heard about, is on there, as well as his review of Claire Obscure Expedition 33, Mark's review of Deck of Haunts, Sean's review of Kyborg, as well as Rendering Ranger R2 Rewind, Zach's review of The Precinct, and Kevin's review of Hordes of Hunger. Lastly, I got one other thing I want to mention. We did an article on this platform a little while ago, but Aaron and I have really taken a nosedive into Fuse. If you're not familiar with Fuse, it is a gaming platform that is just for games. Aaron and I have spent the past couple weeks basically taking every review that we've written in 2025 and putting it on Fuse. And I recommend everybody check this out because it's a great way for you to keep personal track of the games that you've played, the games that you are playing, the ones you've beaten. It has a rating system. It has a community to talk to other people. It's really great. And we've got an invite link for you. We are not sponsored by Fuse whatsoever. But if you click on the link on the show notes of this episode,
we could be.
You.
Oh,
I would love to, but no, this is nothing that we are getting paid for. I genuinely want people to check it out. It is pretty awesome, and I think it's a great way to catalog your games. You can make a top. Remember, like MySpace, when you had like your top 10 friends that you could change whenever you want to.
Do you remember MySpace?
But you do that, and that's totally not a great selling point, right? But you do that on here. You have your own page, and you put your top 10 games in there, and you rate each one, and so people can go look at it. You can write your review about that game, and I don't know. I'm just really kind of taken with it, and really enjoying it. And I hope other people check it out as well. Again, link for that will be in the show notes. And with that, let's go ahead now and jump into our From the Outside In topic. This week, we wanted to talk about gaming with your kids. Now, I don't have any kids of my own, which makes Oscar a perfect guest for this topic since his podcast focuses on being a parent. We wanted to get our listeners' thoughts on whether or not they game with their kids, how much they let their kids play, and if they encourage their gaming habits. So, Oscar, you seem like the natural place to start here. We're going to start with you. As the father of daughters, can you tell us about your gaming experience with them?
Man, I have had to work at gaming with my daughters because you get trapped in like the speed of life, right? You got appointments, you got things to do. I've got a podcast to put together. And I came to realize at some point that I'm putting a podcast together about being a better father and present father. And then I'm like, but I'm not like doing things that they want to do. So I really started to think about that as in the gaming side, because my oldest likes to sit down and play video games. My youngest will play, the tablet games, but my oldest likes to sit down and do that. So I really had to tell myself to do that, to slow down, take some time, and just sit there, if anything, and keep dying through the game. But you're collecting time with your kids. So yeah, that's what I do with them.
Okay. Well, I've got a recommendation for you.
Okay.
When and if you get into the console or if you've got a PC that can handle games, Kevin and I played a game, and I will send you the review so you can read my written review on it.
Okay.
That is a co-op game. You literally have to play this game with another person.
Okay.
It's called Split Fiction, and I think Kevin will also heartily agree with that. I think he actually would have rated it higher than I did. It is about
Scott was
two
wrong
girls. It's about two girls named Mio and Zoe. They're
Okay.
both writers. One of them is a science fiction writer. One of them is a fantasy writer.
Yeah.
And they go to this corporation, promising a writing gig, and they get sucked into a machine that is trying to extract their ideas from their head, and they start to outlive their written ideas. So you've got two characters that with opposing writing styles, and they have to work together to go through fantasy stories and sci-fi stories back to back.
Yeah.
But you are constantly doing things together. You literally have to work together in order to progress, and you are never doing the same thing for more than 10 minutes at a time. Is that an exaggeration, Kevin?
No, it's spot on. Yeah,
I like that.
It's so much fun, and Hazelight Studios, the developer, has done other games like this.
Okay.
It Takes Two is another one that's about a married couple.
Yeah.
It's just they're goofy, they're fun. I can't tell how many times Kevin and I said, "Can you believe that just happened?"
Yep.
And it's great. It's so entertaining. So if you, I'll send you the review when we're done. But that's where I would go.
That
Kevin,
sounds great, because otherwise it's just like almost a competition, and I always lose, right? So it's like giving the controller back and forth. So the co-op thing might be a better track.
Yeah, and it's genuinely fun. I will be really surprised if your daughter doesn't enjoy it, because it's never boring. You're never doing the same thing ever again the entire run of the game. And it's also pretty forgiving. Like if one of you dies, it's not the end of the world as long as both of you don't die.
Okay.
So
and
Kevin and I had this.
It's not. Yeah. Even then, it's not like a major setback. It
Yeah.
really is. It's the most fun game I've played that isn't that kind of holds your hand at the same time.
Mhm.
Okay. You guys are getting me, so that's good. This is good.
How many times did we say, Kevin, like one of us would die and we would just be like, "Don't die,
Don't die.
don't die."
Stay alive.
like just stay alive, run around, just dodge everything for a minute until
Yep.
I get back, and then
Yep.
it worked. So
Okay.
Kevin, what about you? You've got two sons and a daughter. I know you game with your boys. I just learned recently that your daughter played it all.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like, what's that
Yeah.
been like with them?
Video games have been a very instrumental part of my relationships with my kids. Going back to playing like the Marios on the Wii, and stuff like that, just to do something with them,
Mhm.
to stepping outside of my comfort zone into games like Minecraft, Fortnite, just to do stuff with them, just to spend time. I mean, it's a way for me to spend time with them that isn't awkward, where you're trying to keep them focused on something or whatever. It's you kind of going into their world for a little bit,
Mhm.
and again, just literally spending time with them. Yeah, like Sam, she talked about it a couple episodes ago. Like our go-to every time we get together is some kind of wacky, zany party game, normally on the Switch.
Yeah, that's why
And
you like Boomerang Fu and
yes,
Kung Fu Kickball, and anytime we get into those goofy party games where you could do 4 or 6 or 8 players, I'm like, Kevin needs to check this game out.
Yeah.
and it really, for lack of a better term, it lets you, it helps people let their guard down. Just be yourselves, and just be family. Yeah, and the fun part too, with like this didn't start taking place until my boys got into gaming a little bit more. But like one of them would come home from school, have a bad day, we jump into a game, and hey, let's let's game and let's talk about it. Well, you know, is everything cool? And, you know, so it can be an icebreaker. That being said, it's not a perfect world. There are situations that you still got to be a parent, you know. So and that I feel like is a part of the video game ecosystem that doesn't get enough attention. But
Yeah.
But yeah, they've been very instrumental in my relationship with my kids.
I find it interesting you're in Oscar's responses because you're both like, you know, I had to play the games to connect with my kids. Whereas like if I don't have kids and I feel like if I did, I would be like, when are you going to grow up so you can play games with me? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
are you ready to hold this controller yet? I know you
Yeah.
can't speak, but like, let's play this game together. You know what I mean? Like that. I feel like it would be the
A
opposite.
button. That's the
Yeah.
B button.
Well, it's funny because it's we talk about it in the podcast a lot is learning to, like Kevin was saying, to get into their space. Because a lot of times it's very, like you kind of just said it right now. It's really easy to just be like, hey, do what I like. Because, you know, and you can do that when they're really little too. Like they're just like, oh yeah, I'll do whatever dad wants.
Yeah.
But as they get older,
that's the controller that doesn't actually hooked up.
Yes, so that's a great thing. I used to do it all the time. We're like, yeah, you're doing great.
You're doing great.
But now as they get older, man, like you want to, you know, the natural progression of childhood is to like start separating, and so you're like, well, if you do that, then I go to you, then maybe I spend more time, or you know, we get quality time in one way or another. That's where, as I mentioned, I mean, video games aren't the thing that I do, but if I can spend some time there and then connect that way, and to Kevin's point, sometimes I just start talking about not the video game, and it's unexpected, so it's cool.
Gotcha. What about you, Jake?
My family dynamic is actually a little weird. So like again, my goodness. So I jumped into their lives around 8 or 9, and they were already playing some games. They were playing Minecraft, Terraria, different things. And as they are 2 kids, and they are completely different. You could look at them both, and one is a skinny redheaded child, and the other one is a stockier brown-headed child, and you could not, if they were just sitting in a room, you would not know that they were brothers until they started talking, and then you would be like, oh, they're obviously related because how they talk to each other and whatever. But from their personalities, their appearances, all that stuff, even their gaming preferences are completely different. Ziggy the redhead likes more fast-paced, more, I wouldn't say logical games, but more games that he can sink his teeth in. He wants to be able to think about the game that he's doing, put his mind to something. Eli, on the other hand, he's more of a strategy guy. He's looking into the future. He wants to play the RTS games where you control troops and you send them over to people and, you know, do that kind of stuff. He wants to be able to sit back and watch things unfold and control them from a distance.
Strategist, man. That's a strategist. That's great.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And me and I played both of those games. I love both of those, like all those kind of genres. And so it was nice to be able to go, you know, flip the script every now and then. I go play, you know, one type of game with Zig, and then I go play another type of game with Eli. Or, you know, we try to figure out how to get, you know, them both in the same room together to play a game and whatever. But because they're so different, it's hard to figure out one game that will fit both needs, that whatever. So I split my time. But as they've gotten older, they've got their own friends. They spend their online time with their friends. They don't want to spend time with me anymore. And so what our relationship has evolved into is more playing games adjacent. We're playing the same games separately, and then we come together and talk about what we've experienced in those games. And it's anything from news and updates to, you know, what's actually happening in the games, what their friends have done, all that kind of stuff. It's no different than, you know, if they were to come home from school and be like, hey, me and my friends did this at school today. But instead it's a video game, and I can absolutely relate to them because I've had friends. I was 16 and was rolling around.
Wow.
Jacob's wife Mindy just commented in the comments and said, that is because you are not cool.
I am a lot cooler than you. Anywho, but yeah, when I was 15, 16, all those ages, my mom was a bit older and she didn't play games, and so I found my own friends online and I made communities and talked with them, and I talked to them about life. And I one of my friends just got married not too long ago. I found out on Facebook, and we've known each other for 20 years now, and I've never met this man in my life. And he's actually a friend from Canada, which is hilarious because then I go, I have friends in Canada. Well, sure you do. Of course you have friends over there. But anyway, it's nice to see how, like, when I went through that kind of stuff as a kid, I'm watching them go through the same stuff. They're watching their friends kind of grow up online. They're getting jobs, they're moving out, they're, finding partners in life and all that kind of stuff. And it's just, we're connecting with games on a different level than just gaming.
Right. It's also fun. I've been at Jake's house recently, and his kids didn't know I was there, and one of them was really upset. What?
No, keep going.
One of them was really upset about an update that basically ruined the game he was playing. Was it Stalker 2 or what was it?
It's probably Dead by Daylight.
Dead by Daylight? I thought I had a 2 at the end of it, but anyway,
or it was Payday 2 or something. I don't know. There's
whatever it was. He was so mad. He was talking to his buddy online, like doing what you were talking about, like coming to the community and just upset about it. It kind of made me laugh. And then he did the whole like thing from The Room. Oh, hi, Scott.
Yeah.
Didn't know I was there. It was great. My question for you though, Jake, when you said like you play the same game separately, are you guys like in the same room? Or are you like in your own rooms playing the game and then you like at dinner talk about it or whatever?
The latter. A lot of the times there'll be a new game that come out and I'll see it and I'll start playing it. And unbeknownst to me, he's got it and he'll start playing it. And so then, we'll sit at the dinner table and we'll start talking. I'll be like, hey, so I started playing this new game, and he goes, that's crazy, I'm playing it too. And then we'll start, throwing stuff back and forth about it. And it's just, it's a cool little experience to have, just that like, oh, we're not sharing things, but we're still sharing things. We still have these shared experiences, even though they're not together anymore, but it's still there.
So how did this whole thing start? Did you obviously they were playing games when they started. Did you just continue to encourage that? Or did they just keep going because they saw you liked it as well?
That's a cute game. You should play this. I want to say it probably was two years after I'd met them. No, it was probably sooner than that. But they got their own rooms. We got them their own computers. We got them their own consoles and all that kind of stuff. And Ziggy was still really into Minecraft. He really enjoyed the whole, digging and building and all that kind of stuff. And I was showing him different stuff. And for whatever reason, I looked at the kids and said, "You want a real game? Play Dark Souls."
Oh no.
And so we have a 10 and 11-year-old that are now beating their heads against walls. I can't do it. I'm not good. I don't want to play this game anymore. Can you
Oscar, for reference, Dark Souls is made by From Software, notoriously difficult games.
Yes.
If you're not familiar.
They're some of the worst games. And I wouldn't say some of the worst.
Get them right in, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
But
that's borderline abuse.
Yeah, right.
Just so you know.
When they got to those, it made me feel kind of closer to them, because they would be like, I can't do this, can you do this for me? And like, oh, you want my help? Okay, that's cool. And then once they started learning stuff in the game, they started doing it themselves. And now I'm watching Ziggy. He was talking about this was a few years ago, but he was playing one of the Dark Souls games, and he was like, oh yeah, I just did a single level no hit run to get this weapon to come back so I could beat up on low level people with this overpowered weapon. And I'm like, that's what YouTube people do. Like, they spend all this time doing some ridiculous thing. And he goes, oh yeah, it took me like 300 hours to get to the whatever. And I'm like, why would you even bother? Like, just play the game. Oh no, this is what I want to do. Okay. More power to you. That's how you want to play the game. You play the game. But yeah, it's definitely with some of the games, it's a passing of the torch. And like, am I going to be able to keep up with that? No, I can't do that. I don't want to waste that much time either. Like, I've got other things I want to play. But it's interesting to see how I've given them challenges and they've grown to it. And now they've surpassed those. And it's funny too, because when they were younger, they would always, it's so hard, I can't do it. And now, like, especially Ziggy has these like moments of reflection, and he just goes, I really don't understand what I thought was so hard about those games before. And it's like, it's easy to look back and go, well, now I know everything. I don't know why it was so hard. But like when you're experiencing it for the first time, like, this is why it's hard. You have to understand that you have to push through challenges. And sometimes I see that he maybe he learned something from it, and then other times not at all. Like,
I love that he's like, this math test. Why did I think this math test was so hard before I was taught how to do the procedures?
Yeah,
like
that's basically what it is.
It's so easy now that I know how to do it. Like,
oh man,
oh yeah. And the other kid is just funny is the other kid. It's what my good friend calls him. But anyway, Eli is just, he doesn't like the fast-paced games. He likes the like go at your own pace games. Although he did play, everybody in the house except Mindy played Armored Core 6 together. And not together, but like side by side. So we all did like these crazy builds and whatever. Eli spent more time building the mech. Ziggy spent more time in battles, and I was just kind of like watching these two like spend their favorite moments in the same game at different paces, and I was able to play and share that kind of stuff with them too.
That's awesome.
Pretty cool.
Oscar, I'm going to go back to you because I want to talk about how much your kids.
Why does he get to go twice? Oh no,
he is the guest, Jacob.
I get skipped. What is this?
I think Kevin got skipped earlier.
Right.
Don't write it on the format.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry, Scott. Continue.
So, time that you let your kids play, because in a world of everything in moderation being a thing, how much do you let your kids play? And if you do limit their time, like how do you go about doing that?
I think we inadvertently and purposely, if that makes any sense, limit their time. And I say that in the sense that they're pretty busy throughout the day. They got school, and then they get home and they got chores. They can't touch devices until they're done with their chores. And then like strategically we do that, and then their friends come over and they want to play. And our neighborhood the current neighborhood we live in is reminds me of like kind of how I grew up. Like kids come to the door and they want to go play and do stuff. And I'm like, yeah, go. So if we can kick them out of the house, we do. And then they'll come in and start playing something, normally towards the end of the night. And then Friday nights they'll stay in and they'll play some games. But I think we might be the exception of the rule, maybe, or one of the exceptions. We don't tend to have too much of an issue except for devices, like an actual like little tablet. Sometimes if we're not careful, they'll sit there all day and like do things. And I know it sounds like lazy parenting, but we'll just be busy doing some other stuff. And I'm like, you've been sitting there for hours. Have you even peed? Like, have you done anything? And so we do like to limit that. If it's that, especially the devices, like, an hour or two, we're not hard, like pressed on it. I see a lot of utility to the video game stuff. You guys explain it very eloquently. Like there's problem solving that you like to do. There's these things that you're finding. Even if I don't necessarily catch on to that, I see that as they're playing it. So we're not crazy hard on the timing. But if it's gone a while, I mean, we don't, if there's sun outside, we're like, go get sun in your face. Like go outside. You know what I mean? We try to keep that alive a little bit, but maybe if I had to put a number to it, a couple hours a day or every other day, it's not something we sit and do all the time.
Right. Mindy had a comment here. She said, I went through a phase where I made them earn game time with exercise when I was having trouble with the screen time, which is a good thing to do. Same thing, chores. Yeah. You could have a whole system of like, you do this much exercise, you do this much chores, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. What about you guys, Kevin, Jake? What do you guys to make sure your kids aren't playing too much?
I'll go first, so I don't get skipped again. Jackie and I have butted heads on this a little bit, but we've kind of found a middle ground. We don't really regulate too much. As our biggest thing is as long as your responsibilities are taken care of, and
Mhm.
and that is like you can play games first if you want, but if your responsibilities aren't done by the end of the night, then you're not playing tomorrow.
Right.
You just handle it. I mean, just for lack of a better term, you just be responsible. I don't, you know, obviously it's a disciplinary thing too. Like if you're failing a class, sorry, you're not going to have much game time.
Right.
You know, outside of that, really, it's kind of their prerogative, and you know, if they're enjoying themselves and they have everything done that they need to have done, and all that fun jazz, then go for it.
What about you, Jake?
I know me and Mindy butt heads a lot with this. So Ziggy spends most of his time playing games. Yeah, there are problems. He could spend less time playing games and more times doing the things that he actually needs to do. He has schoolwork that needs to be done, which he's definitely not getting done. But he's almost done, and we're just like, please. He's homeschooled, and so it's like he's been going at his pace for however long. Now he's coming into like the last week, and it's like, just get it done. Like, put me and your mom out of our miseries and just get this done past school so we can stop worrying about it. Like, we're all super worried about it. Just please, just get it done. Eli,
It'd
on
be
the
so
other
much
hand,
easier, wouldn't it? Like
yeah,
I tell my students all the time, I know you don't want to do this assignment. I know you don't want to take this test. Just get it over with, and then you can go do something else.
yep.
Like instead of being miserable and fighting me on it now, just go do it.
Well, that was something that we went through with when they were younger. Like, they had chores growing up, and going to do dishes, sweeping the floors, that kind of stuff. And it's like, okay, fine, you want to play your games, that's great, but like, I know you don't want to do the floor, but it takes 10 minutes to sweep the floor. But you
Mhm.
are dragging it out because you don't want to do it. Why
Yeah.
don't you understand that if you just take the 10 minutes to do this, you can go do what you want to do rather than spending 40 minutes doing this, what you don't want to do, and then having less time. I
That's
don't know.
kid logic.
It's kids logic. The longer I'm not doing this, I'm not doing it. But also
Mhm.
the longer I'm not doing this, I'm also not doing the things that I want to do. But Eli is in college, so his schedule is a little bit different. He's on break now, so he's kind of relaxed and he's doing his own thing. I know this summer I think he wants to get a job, and so he's going to be splitting his time between home and work and all that kind of stuff, and then he's going to be going back to school. But I think he's got a handle on it to where, like, and he's gotten into cooking too now. So he'll play his game for a little bit. He'll look stuff up online. He'll listen to a podcast. He'll get off the games. He'll go cook something for himself. And, and then during the days that he's actually got college, he gets himself up, he gets himself washed up, he takes himself to school, and he comes home. And so, like, he's kind of like on track. The other kid is kind of throwing everything to the wind and just kind of hoping everything works out. So
Are they listening, by the way?
there's no. No, I would scream because I know they're right above my head, but it wouldn't come good over the mic.
Yeah, no, don't do that.
Oh, thanks, producer Kevin.
All right, guys. Well, that was a good topic. Before we get to the community responses, anything else you guys want to share about your experiences with because again, I wrote the questions. I kind of put this conversation together, but I don't have kids, so I feel like I could totally be missing something important here.
So I raised my kids to think. Like, you have a problem in this game, figure it out, look around, solve it, use your knowledge. And when they were younger, we like the whole family would play a game, and we'd be like, don't do this, and then they would go off and do it, and then they would die, and we'd have to save them, or something. And it's like, why would you do this? We just told you not to do this. Like,
Because you told me not to do it.
some of it, some of it's exploring, some of it's whatever, but it's like, you need to learn how to survive or do things on your own and listen to instructions. And now they're both older and they're dealing with other children of their generation. And Ziggy especially will walk out of his room and goes, I don't know why they can't just follow instructions. and it's you've got this kid that's going on 18 that's yelling at other people that are 18, 19, 20, and it's like, see, this is why I talk to you the way that I used to talk to you. And now you understand.
Do you give him just that Justin Timberlake look, like,
Oh, it sounds familiar.
yeah, right?
Yeah, so
What about you two? Anything else you want to add before we move on?
I'll let you go first, Oscar, if anything.
Man, I like the dichotomy or the analogy of games and life, because I mean, we talk about to my daughters, I tell them that life is a type of game. You just got to figure out how it's played and which direction you want to go. And once you pick a direction, there's a game within a game now. You got to figure that out and figure out what gets you leveled up and what doesn't. And so I really we kind of use it in that manner. Like I said, we don't have to regulate it too much. They're pretty much outside kids, but we do like to tie those together. It's like the dad thing to do. Like, you just find a lesson in everything. But it's kind of interesting, to your point. Like, if they start seeing what we tell them in other kids, and I'm like, yeah, we've been talking about this for the last 4 years. Just you see it in other kids, and so I always tell them when we're playing games, like, it's you can level up in school, you can level up in your life, you can do these different things. You can also die, by the way, and you can't come back. So you got to figure this out. Right?
Yeah.
So
no response.
Yeah, there's no response.
Don't
on these. So
die.
I'm pretty straightforward with my kids, man. I probably to a fault, but they know that there's an end of it, and we got to figure out how to play the game correctly. And one of the big things for us is we have to add into our game to be of service somewhere. And so, are you helping others level up in their game, kind of thing? So we try to tie those things together. It's probably lame and like daddish, but that's what we try to do.
It reminds me of.
I think it's great.
There was a poster I saw that said something to the effect of everything in life I learned from video games, and then it's like all of these like life lessons that are clearly slanted towards video games. That's
Right.
what that reminds me of.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, like I'm going to go on almost a complete opposite direction. Like I do nothing. Like Skylar knows. Even Sam knows, like when we get together and play as families, I will do something detrimental to myself if I can bring someone else down in the process. Hey,
Skylar, that's a great life lesson, brother, because there's people out there that are going to do that.
Yeah. No,
100%.
My dad's going to bring me down.
Yeah.
No, one of my favorite memories, seriously, one of my favorite memories is playing a game called Generation Zero with Skylar. And this game is a dystopian robotic shooter, but it's actually quite good with like stealth, and you can use things to like
Paul
draw
Hines
their
says
attention.
Kevin is the disruptor.
Oh yeah, okay. So like Skylar and I would be like crouching around this facility, and there's these big bad robots out there trying, if they catch us, we're dead and all this fun stuff. And I'd have a radio, and I would just turn the radio on and throw it out like right at them. and then it's just a wild, screaming, laughing scene for the next 20 minutes. It's one of my favorite things to do, is just wild, crazy. It's not the way you're supposed to play the game,
No.
but it can be so much fun. And it kind of helped them to learn to, I think, I never talked to them about this, but I think because they were getting very serious in the games. Like when something didn't go their way, they got angry. And I think it helped them kind of learn, okay, it's not all 100% serious. And like when we play the Mario games, everybody knows I'm coming for you. and I'm gonna grab you, and we're gonna fall down a hole, and it's gonna be glorious.
That's awesome.
What was that game we played together? Was it Party Animals?
Yeah,
Where
possibly.
do you remember that game?
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh man, you could literally pick up the other characters and just like chuck them out the window.
Yep.
I don't even remember like the main goal of that game. I just remember just laughing hysterically because people would get like, I think we might have been playing with Joel, and he gave up on that game so hard because we kept picking on him. He was like, "This game is not for me.
Yeah.
This is not my kind of game."
Yeah. See, in those games, I'm grabbing someone and I'm jumping out the window with them.
So here's a question I didn't think to ask you guys, but do you let your kids win at Mario Kart, or do you
Nope.
just
No.
destroy
No.
them?
No.
Oh, all
Absolutely
three
not.
no's, like hard, straight
No.
no. Okay.
That's for mom to do. If she wants to be nice, that's fine. There's no free rides anywhere.
Right. Exactly.
I like it.
I'm not handing out wins.
No. I actually get pretty irritated when I lose. Like if I lose consistently, like in Mario Kart, I'll quietly like I got something to do, girls, and I just like walk off.
Oh no, that's awesome.
Oh, perfect.
That's
I love it.
awesome. Well, let's see what our community said. We're going to move over to the responses. We post a question related to the topic on our social media outlets and ask for responses that we're going to read to you guys right now. And Oscar, you're our guest, so why don't you kick things off for us? Read that first comment for us.
All right, this is Tim. I'm gonna butcher your name, brother. Tim Copeland. I try and encourage them to play, but one is more interested than the other. They've played some Paw Patrol, Coco Melon, and Bluey games, but I've also had them try Super Mario Brothers and Donkey Kong Country. They get frustrated easily, but I'm trying to get them to persevere and not give up right away. They do like to watch me play games.
Hey, that's a place to start, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, again, if I had kids, I don't get my kids, in a, what do you call the carrier thing that you carry around in with the little handle on the top? What do you call that?
Baby carrier?
Baby carrier? Is it that simple?
I think so. I could be wrong.
Like,
The
I'm
carrier
gonna
of babies.
if I had a kid, it would literally be like sitting right there. You're gonna watch this and you're gonna
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
And
my thing that I found as a struggle when they were, especially when they were younger, is that they would go on YouTube and they would watch other people play the game. And then they'd be like, well, I want that game. Okay, fine. We can, if you want to play that game, we can get that game. And then they would get the game. They'd get probably about an hour into it and realize that they don't have the same stuff as that other person had
Right.
in the video.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so there was this like teachable moment. Like, they worked really hard to get the things that they had. You also have to work really hard if you want the same things. Well, I don't want to work really hard. Well, too bad.
Yep.
Either you want that stuff and you are going to play, or you don't want that stuff and you're going to not play. And then, more often than not, they would play the game and they would get to that point, and it was a goal. It turned into a goal rather than an expectation.
Not cool.
I got to ask you guys. This is slightly related, not to do with video games, but I want to know if I'm the jerk for doing this to my.
You're
to
a
my-
jerk.
To,
You're a jerk. Yes.
to doing this to my students.
Unanimously.
They will ask me what time it is, and I will point at the clock, and they say, I don't know how to read that. And I say, well, that's too bad. And I will not tell them what time it is.
I do that constantly in my house.
Yep. I was gonna say that happens here.
That drives
I was
me
looking-
nuts.
There's a giant clock on the wall right there.
If anyone's ever been to my house, I know you guys have. Oscar, I know you haven't, but I have this huge 24-inch clock in my living room, and they will be standing right next to it with it like in their peripheral vision, and they will lean their head over to look into the kitchen to see the clock on the stove. And I'm like, it's right there.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, I do the same. If I was again, Scott, I would be the meanest teacher. I don't know how you do it. I'd just be like, I just keep doing what I'm doing. That's what I do at the house. What time is it? We have analog clocks like all over the place. I'm like, I don't know. I just
Right.
I understand that we didn't grow up with. We had digital clocks though. We had digital watches. Everything was there, but we still knew how to. I don't know. I sound like such an old fart right now, but it's
Yeah,
not
you
that
do.
difficult.
Scott, when you were growing up, they were basing things off the sun. Stop.
Shut up! I'm not that old. Kevin,
as a teacher, though, I got to ask you, as a teacher, do you ever sit there like, what did your parents do to you? Like,
not out
Yeah.
loud, but yeah, pretty much every day. It's just insane. I'm not making this up.
Oh.
Thanks, Aaron. Aaron says that I had the patience of a legendary. My patience is of legendary status, according
Not
to
your
Aaron.
reading skill.
Shut up.
He's the English major.
Oh my God. No, I was thinking about the story I wanted to tell you. I'm not making this up. I'm not going to name names, but just as a story example, and I can't remember if I've told the story. Some of my students come into my classroom during lunch because the lunchroom is insanely loud. And I'm saying, sure, if you want to come eat lunch in here, as long as you're quiet, respectful, that's fine. And sometimes they bring their friends, but every time they do, I have to ask a kid for their name so I can text it to the hall monitor to be like, hey, just, these kids are in my class. So if their parents show up to pick them up, whatever, they know where they are. So this kid I don't know is in my class, 8th grade. Keep that in mind. 8th grade, 14 years old. Hey, man, what's your name? Tells me his name. I said, okay, well, I need your last name too. What's your last name? Guys, he had to look it up.
What?
Wow.
He had to look up his own last name.
That's got to be a special situation.
You know what? I'm gonna
No.
give benefit of the doubt. He probably has a nickname at home. It's probably not a good one.
You know
But it's a
what?
nickname. They never
Yeah.
call him by his name.
I told this story in our group chat, and I think Kevin or Nate was the first one to be like, oh, well, he was probably adopted or he's got a stepdad. Nope, none of it.
Wow.
I asked the kid, actually. I'm like, sorry, like, you adopted? No. Do you have do you go by a different name at home? No.
Are you on drugs?
Like, I didn't do that. I was like, and he comes back and I'm like, oh yeah, you're the one that doesn't know his last name. Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
and he's
So-
teasing him on top of it. Yeah, you're the
Yep.
jerk.
I think we all know he needed a little teasing. If he can't
Yeah.
figure out his last name.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did.
You gotta be careful. You gotta be really careful. As long as it's done in good fun and not like actually making fun of. But anyway,
Right.
Which is why I said I would go to jail. I don't think I can hold that line, sir.
Kevin, you want to take the next one?
Sure. Over on Discord, Drew Ross. My 2 oldest boys are all about online shooters. I play Fortnite and Call of Duty Warzone with them regularly. My oldest son is definitely better than me, and I've been into online shooters since the late 90s. He makes me proud. I've never been able to get them into a great single player game, on the other hand.
I think that's really
the
where we're
thing.
headed
Yeah,
with
that's the thing.
kids. They don't want to play anything on their own. They want to play with somebody. It's a social community aspect of it.
I will say,
Aaron says, "Oh snap! I just noted Kevin's backdrop."
oh, thank you.
I was going to bring it up earlier because I feel like your computer is positioned differently. We can actually
It
see
is.
your
It is.
yeah.
On an interesting point there, though, like that's what my kids are all into too. And I gave Logan wanted a game, but he had already purchased a single player game, and because it looked cool at the time. And I gave him an ultimatum that, yeah, you want this other game, I'll go get it for you, but first you're going to beat that one.
Ooh, I like that.
Now,
I like that too.
fast forward, he was so proud when he beat that game.
What was the
that
game?
That was the Dragon Quest Builders game.
Oh, I remember.
He
That was the first game he ever beat.
Yeah, he was like, take my picture and stand up by the TV and yada yada while he was rolling credits, and because that was back when we were doing the whole roll credits on the, well, we still do, but
Yeah.
but yeah, on the social medias.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it created that moment.
Mm-hmm.
That's very cool. It reminds me a
It's
little
so
bit
great.
of Zach's unfortunately not here to tell this story, but I'll tell it for him. He said his grandpa introduced him to games, but he
Yes, I
made
remember,
him he made him play the older games first. He actually started him like on the Atari 2600.
Oh, nice.
You're gonna play these, work your way up to the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Genesis. Kind of work your way through all this stuff so that you can appreciate the newer stuff now.
I like how you went from Super Nintendo to Genesis, so you're stepping up in quality as you go up the ladder.
I was gonna skip it altogether, but I figured
Uh-huh.
you'd yell at me if I did, so I just had to make sure I stuck it in there. All right, our next comment. I'm going to read this one. This comes from Fuse, which that social media platform I talked about earlier. We got some. I posted
But we are not sponsored by.
We are not sponsored by them. No, would like to be. Anyway, this one comes from. This one comes from by a user by the name of Zev0, and he or she says, "I have been playing games with my daughter since she was 4. I would say I encouraged it when she was little as something to do on cold or rainy day thing. We played a lot of Yoshi games, Mario, and we loved Nintendo Land on Wii U. We also played a ton of Skylanders and bought each release. When she got to be like 12 or 13, we started playing stuff like Borderlands and Diablo. She also got into Overwatch and plays a ton of Valorant. She's 14 now and typically plays with her friends as it's a social way for them to hang out, and it's mostly Valorant, Fortnite, and Overwatch. We don't play together as much, but when we do, it's stuff like Until Dawn and The Quarry. Oh, those are great like single player games that can be played together with someone.
Yeah.
That's a really
Yeah.
good call. We are both looking forward to Borderlands 4. I did always make sure I balanced games with going outside and playing. I wanted gaming to be something fun to do, but also make sure she is playing outside and has other hobbies like she does dance.
Wow.
I would say,
okay.
especially at this age, gaming gives us common ground on something to talk about, which is hard to do with a teenager who is too cool to hang out with her dad. Haha.
Don't know anything about that.
Yeah, cannot be seen out in public.
Yep.
What me and Scott went to MGC. I took Zig, and Zig was wearing this like death metal shirt, blah blah whatever, and he's just kind of moping around the place, not really saying anything to him. We finally go through the whole place, and he gets outside, and someone looks at him and goes, "I really like your shirt," and he just nods just violently because he just didn't want to talk. He didn't want to say anything to anyone. And then we get him home, and then he won't stop gabbing. He's always talking about something. But just when he gets out of his safety zone, he just kind of clams up a little bit. But like once you get him going on the stuff that he knows, the stuff that he likes, he opens up, and there's a whole world in there of like video game knowledge and stuff that he just spews constantly.
Yeah,
and it is nice to be able to take a teenager that is usually like either closed off or rebellious and just be able to have that connection to them.
I just love reading Zev Zero's comment here because you can see the progression. Like they started with like, kid friendly games on the Nintendo consoles and, work their way through. And it just kind of all of a sudden it's Valorant. I'm like, to me, Valorant's like, that's an extraction shooter, isn't it? Or am I thinking?
I don't know that much about it. I thought it was like more of a like a team game. Like what is the?
It's like Overwatch.
Yeah, Overwatch. That's what I was thinking. I don't know. I don't know that much about it, but that's what I thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was really surprised that Overwatch took teenagers by storm as much as it did. I just really didn't think it would. It would. Aaron Hughes says that it is Counter-Strike Go with abilities.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Also, we had another comment I wanted to share here. Alan Sheck, who was at R2V2 last year. He's in the vein of story games. My oldest, 8, loves Sonic 2D and 3D and beat Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 with minimal help from me. One of my proudest moments was when she told me she beat Chaos Final Form. That's speaking Kevin's language. I've not done those. So Paul Hine also commented and said at 2 and 4 years old, I play games more around my kids and less with. The hour or two after bedtime is the golden time.
Yep.
You guys have all obviously had kids. Did you ever do the like newborn in the crook of your arm with a controller, like playing a game with it? Yeah. Is that a real thing?
I started at 8 and 9.
Well, yeah,
that would have been weird.
Hey, if there's a picture of it, I'd like to see it.
Oh man.
All right, we got Jacob. You're up next for the next one.
All right. Still on Fuse. Almost Sleek says, I am a parent. I do games with my kids. I do encourage them to play. I have made a rule in my house that if they can read, they can play anything. Age appropriate, of course. I will add they both started with Minecraft. They both still play. As my oldest learns to read, she is now playing Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, Luigi's Mansion, and Princess Peach Showtime. I am playing Little Gator Game and with my son, though he can't read quite yet, but it's a good bonding time.
Nice.
Yes. Yeah. It's again, it's good just to have some fun, even though they can't like maybe always get everything. They're still having that good time with you.
Mm-hmm. I'm intrigued by the idea of like if you can read it, you can play it. How is he testing that? Like, is it like?
Well, I mean, if they can't play it, then they obviously can't read it.
Well, I mean, some games are going to require you to read, others are not. So I guess it's just gonna. I'm not going to read it to you. Is that what it is?
They still got to like teach you how to play.
Right. Interesting. I like his choice of games too. I haven't played Little Gator Game, but it's a weird coincidence that showed up on my feed recently.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I had never even heard of it. Minnie had a comment here. She said, before Jake met the boys, we played a lot of Skylanders. We collected all of the figurines.
Yep, Skylanders was a thing.
Yeah. We sold a bunch of those at a garage sale a few years ago. Like, those are not worth anything anymore. Didn't they shut the servers down, or are they still up?
I I'm assuming they're shut down. That was ages ago.
That was a long time ago. All right, we got one more comment. Oscar, you do the honors?
Yeah, we got Eternal Reloads.
Mhm.
My oldest son is about 2.5, and I'll sometimes play a Forza game, and he enjoys watching since he's very into cars right now. When he's around 3 or 4, I intend to have him start playing with me if I feel he's ready for that. Balancing that with outside play and other hobbies, of course.
That's cool
Nice.
that he's 2.5 and he's already that into cars that he's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
right.
that's impressive. That's pretty cool. So
Yeah.
awesome. Well, thank you, Eternal Reloads, for the comment. And thanks to everybody that wrote in. If you're hearing this episode for the first time, really do appreciate it because I hope you tune in to hear your comment on here. So next week's topic is yet to be determined. I know we're going to do something business related. We are having another guest from the Radcast Network on the episode next week. So stay tuned for that. We'll have the topic on the socials, and we hope to hear from you as well. But that's going to do it for this week's The Gaming Outsider. Oscar, thank you so much for being our guest.
Man, it was a pleasure. This was fun.
Awesome. And I'm glad you had a good time. Where can our listeners follow you and your work?
Yeah, man. Thanks. I could go in here and start messing up all the socials, but really, if you just go to daughteredpodcast.com, you're gonna find all of our stuff from YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. I think we're on Twitter. I may or may not post there very much, but definitely on Instagram. And then for me personally, I'm at Instagram. My handle for that is _growing girl dad, and you can find a lot of my stuff there. Then you'll see a lot of collaboration, obviously, between that and the Daughter Podcast handle as well. But you can find us there. If you go to our site, though, it's kind of cool. You can, if you have a dad, not necessarily your dad, but a buddy that's a father that's killing it in what they're doing, and you want to shout them out, there's a place to do that in the site, so we can call them out and let everybody know about them. Give them some flowers on the podcast as we do our episodes. And then anything else that people want to talk about, it's all on there. And that's the way they can find us. Daughteredpodcast.com. You'll be able to find all of our stuff on there.
Very cool. So are you scoring cool points by being here, or do they think this is super dorky?
My daughter thought this was really cool.
Awesome.
And she straight up was like, "What are you going to talk about?" So, so hopefully I made her proud, or at least didn't screw it up completely.
Awesome. Well, tell her we all said hello, and hopefully she checks out the episode.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, thanks everybody out there for listening. This episode was produced by Kevin Honigford right there, and all the music you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemage and Metroid Metal. His website, as always, is stemagemusic.com, STEMAGE music.com. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Oscar, any parting words or recommendations for our listeners before we get out of here?
Man, I just, like we talked about, be intentional with the time that you're spending with your kids, even if it's doing video games or whatever. Get into their space and let them spend time with you, and that's something I'm learning myself. So hopefully they can take that away from here.
Awesome. Jacob, how about you?
I have found it to be very rewarding to be very physical with my children. I know they're older, but I still tickle them. Pats on the shoulder, pats on the head, different things. I push my kids, like literally actually physically like push them. Sometimes not like into walls exactly, but just to, I let them know that
we're going off the rails a little bit here.
Yeah.
Child Services might have something to say about that.
Nonsense.
That's Jake at the Gaming Outsider.com.
His address. I don't know. But yeah, no, there's a bond forming there that, us playing with each other physically is just like we're buddies, and that's the kind of like evolution of our friendship, of our relationship that I want to have as they become young men. And so, like, yes, I'm still your parental figure. I'm still your dad. I'm still whatever, but I want you to know that we can at some level also be friends.
Awesome. How about you, Kevin? Anything you want to recommend?
You guys into comedy at all?
Yes.
No. Bye. Oh,
Yeah. Well, I went and saw an act called Randy Feltface this last weekend.
This is the
Dude,
puppet, right?
Yes.
He's the Muppet. If you get the opportunity, do not miss it.
Yeah.
Blueberries are purple.
Dude, I'm telling you, like I've gone to shows with my wife before, and they're great. This time, like I literally, like normally I'm sitting there with my arm around her in the seats or something like that, or we're holding hands. Like I couldn't touch her. I was too busy holding myself up on the table from laughing so hard. Like I was in so much pain from laughing I couldn't stand. Yeah, just if you get the chance, don't miss it.
So for people that aren't familiar, this is a guy, it's like a stand-up comedian, but he's under a thing like holding up a Muppet and
Yes.
looking at the crowd with a Muppet.
Yep.
I've seen some clips like on TikTok and things, and it's that dude has improv skills like
Yep.
crazy.
Yep, it's all played off of the crowd. It is so much. I can't really put it in a word. Like I said, don't miss it. If you're into laughing your butts off, and yeah, just don't.
Very cool. I've got a recommendation as well. I actually read or listened to an audiobook this week. This was recommended by another podcast that I listen to regularly, so I kind of stole it from them, but it was such a good recommendation. I have to share it. The book is Fahrenheit 182. It is a memoir by Mark Hoppus from Blink-182.
Yep.
Have you guys read it?
I've not read it, but I know of it.
I was thinking of the different book.
Oh, Fahrenheit 251. You thought I was going to talk? Yeah. No, Fahrenheit 182, and it's like 7-8 hours long. It's really short, but it is super interesting. And it was really fun to listen to that. And as they're talking about writing certain songs, pausing the audiobook and going and listening to the song, just kind of for reference, listening to the book. It was really cool. I feel like I have a little bit of a different perspective and feeling about Blink-182 because, they got a lot of hate when they quote unquote sold out, because that's not what punk bands do. You know what I mean? And then Mark went through some crazy personal stuff towards the end, more recently. And just the band's ups and downs. It was all super fascinating. If you like origin stories of bands you really like, and I love Blink-182, that was like, my late teens, it was perfect. So I highly recommend Fahrenheit 182 by Mark Hoppus. It's a really, really good read. That's going to do it, guys. Thanks so much. Until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Jacob Gunderson and Kevin Honigford, and we are The Gaming Outsider. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.
You're going to have to...
Where's the